Wi-Fi?
I don't know. Hey guys, we are Robin Hood and Cruella de Vil. This is Bark Bark at the Moon.
Oh.
It's Halloween. What can we say? It's been a weird year. Why not a weird live chat? We're going to do a little Q&A here. We haven't done one of these live videos in a while. So we thought, in the spirit of the holiday, we would dress up. I think Christy wins the costume contest. How about that? That's what I'm talking about. Somebody requested leg. Somebody on Facebook requested leg. Christy has already met your request. So in this video, we're going to be taking questions from you guys. This is a live stream, unedited. And so it's going to be a little bit rough around the edges, but these are a lot of fun. If you got any questions you want to ask, good old long honeymoon. This is a good opportunity. And I think we may start out talking a little bit about Halloween. Hey, Linda. Linda says nice costumes.
Thank you, Linda.
What costume?
This is just how we dress every day.
Yeah. You didn't know how strange we were, did you? Yeah, you know, we're thinking about the good times we've had on Halloween with our Airstream. And, well, I think one of the most memorable actually was at Disney World, because Disney really decks out for Halloween.
Yes. If you've never been to Disney during Halloween, it is the absolute best holiday to go for. The Fort Wilderness campground is decorated. Everyone that visits brings their own decorations and decorates their sites. So if you go, feel free to bring decorations because you won't be the only one. It's really cool. Also, the Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party is a lot of fun. It's the only time that adults can enter Walt Disney World in costume. If you try to go in a costume any other time, you'll be turned away. But at the Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party, they encourage costumes, so it's your one chance to go to Disney in your favorite Halloween costume. Of course, I went as Cruella de Vil because she's my favorite Disney villain. And who doesn't love the villains? Because if you didn't have the villains, there wouldn't be a story.
Russ Stringer says he's going to Fort Wilderness this March. You'll love it.
You'll have a great time.
Yeah, you can't have a bad time down there, really. Halloween is unique because everybody in the campground really celebrates. I mean, they deck out their campsites, and it's just a very festive, unique place to spend Halloween.
Most definitely. We've also been in several other cities on Halloween, namely Las Vegas. So that's a great place to spend Halloween if you're camping because, you know, Halloween is usually a bit of a freak show anyway. So you can join in and have all the fun you want and you're not going to stick out. You know, there's a lot of restaurants and bars that have specials for Halloween. They'll have parties. So it's a great place to be for Halloween. We've been in Los Angeles during Halloween, and LA is a great city for Halloween also. They have the Haunted Hayride, which is at, what's the park that's in all the TV shows?
Griffith Park.
In Griffith Park, so that's a really good one. And then, of course, Disneyland has Halloween. Knott's Berry Farm has Halloween. Universal Studios has a really scary Halloween, so be careful if you're taking kids to that one. But LA's a great city for Halloween. You know, there's a party on every corner. And then we've also been in New York City on Halloween, and that's a pretty cool place to be as well because in the West Village, they actually have a parade for Halloween. So there's lots of cool options for Halloween when you're camping. Let us know if you've been somewhere cool camping during Halloween. We'd love to check it out sometime.
That's right. That's one of the great things about, I think, RV travel and the stuff we've done with the Airstream is you find yourself in a different part of the country during a holiday, and it's just really fascinating to see how it's celebrated in the different parts of the country. A lot of people have asked where we're camping. And there's a story behind that. I gotta be honest, we were all packed up, had our Airstream loaded, ready to go, okay? Because as you know, I've been dealing with a brain tumor, speaking of terrifying situations.
Yeah.
And so that sort of grounded us. So we had everything loaded up, ready to go, and our refrigerator died. So,
in the Airstream.
Yep, so we had a sad death on our hands of our refrigerator. So we are in the process of installing a new refrigerator, which will probably happen tomorrow.
Fingers crossed.
And then,
Hopefully.
if the universe sees fit, we will tow this Airstream somewhere, even if it's to the foot of the driveway. We're going somewhere. But we'll have a new refrigerator courtesy of the Dometic Corporation. So thank you,
Yeah,
Dometic.
so thanks Dometic, and we'll be doing an install video on that to show you how to install your own RV refrigerator.
Robert said, glad to see you're feeling better. Yeah, the last month has been so much better. I mean, I really felt like death warmed over for most of the summer. And it seemed like around the end of September, early October, my medication started kicking in. So yeah, I feel like the last 3 or 4 weeks have been very, very good. So we might, you want to step inside?
Yeah, let's step inside and see what other questions we can get. If you guys have any RV or camping related questions for us, or Halloween questions or anything like that, any questions to get to know us better or what have you.
Yeah, this is
Send
kind
them
of
our way.
a freewheeling chat. We're just going to kick back and kind of relax on the couch and talk to you guys. So I'm going to hand off the camera, step inside.
Here you go.
Welcome to my office. And here we go. So we're trying out kind of something new here with our live chats. And assuming the technology works, voila. So we're going to, do you think of yourselves as trendsetters? You're really one of the first RV bloggers. This is a question from Sandy. It says there's a bunch of RV bloggers. You know, it's really interesting, if I may indulge for a moment. We started doing this a long, long time ago, if you'll pardon the pun. And I've always, honestly, I just wanted to make movies. I mean, my driving motivation in the beginning, I really enjoy filmmaking. And I thought, wow, this is going to be a great way to practice my filmmaking. And it has been, and it certainly was. And so like for me, it was really just a great creative outlet, and it kind of took on momentum and just kind of picked up, you know, a life of all of its own. So I've just kept on doing it. We've kept on doing it, and it's been just a lot of fun. So I don't know if we set a trend. That's really a kind thing to say.
Yeah.
We've been doing it a long time.
Yeah.
But we do it because we love it, you know.
Somebody asked earlier where we're going to go this year when we finally get on the road.
Good question.
And fingers crossed, hopefully that will happen in the next week or so. And we're probably just going to stick to the southeast. We don't really want to go too far because we really want to see how Sean's going to do once we get on the road and how he feels. So we're thinking we're probably going to hit some places where we kind of usually overlook. So probably I would say the Smoky Mountains, the mountains of North Carolina, and then we might make it over to Charleston and Savannah and that area. So we'll just have to see how things go, and we'll keep you posted on our plans and where we're headed. And if you have any suggestions for us when we get there, we'll certainly take them and show you all the best things that we find once we're there.
Somebody just asked a question about outdoor videography, and I actually have a separate little channel. It's a small channel, and right now it's just called Sean Michael. I've changed the name of it once or twice. I'll probably call it Sean Michael Photography when I talk about photo and video stuff over there from time to time. I think once you start getting into producing these videos, you begin to realize it's really a lot of work. You're taking in to account a lot of different factors. You know, there's always some guy firing up a leaf blower or a lawnmower or whatever anytime you're shooting outdoors. But
it's on cue. Every time we start to film outside, somebody's dog starts barking for no reason. Somebody starts a leaf blower, or a plane flies overhead, or a helicopter starts hovering nearby, and we don't live anywhere near an airport. So it never fails.
Somebody asked if we've ever thought about going to a trailer with slide outs. Honestly, not really. I really appreciate slide outs. I mean, every time I step in one, I'm like, whoa, this is a lot of space, you know, because I think they're great to have. But first of all, from an Airstream standpoint, there are very few Airstreams with slide outs. And our Airstream kind of fits us. At least it has so far.
Yeah.
Now, if we were, you know, if we had a couple of little ones,
we would need all the space we could get.
Then it might be different.
We might be trading this in for like a bus.
Now, I mean, for two people, you know, what we have, it's cozy, it's compact, but it's, you know, it suits us pretty well. So,
let's see.
Bob Ferguson says, plan for the best and take what you get. Yep, I've certainly learned that lesson this year.
Yeah.
This year has been so weird.
It's been a really weird year
I
for us.
have to say, for like the last 6 months, we have felt like we're ready to get going somewhere, and every time we're getting ready to go, something happens. I mean, you know, we were going to go up to the Northeast with this tour company. That ended up falling through. I got a brain tumor.
Yeah.
Our refrigerator died. It's just like all sorts of weird things happening.
Yeah.
So,
somebody mentioned visiting spooky places on our trips. I think that'd be really cool. There are a lot of, you know, haunted towns and, you know, kind of myths surrounding really historic towns. So I think that would be fun to do. So we'll have to look into that. Sorry, we're sort of scrolling through the comments here, trying to answer. They kind of disappear after a second from our screen. So,
yeah.
Let's see.
Somebody says, just bought a Class C. We'll be out in the mountains in North Carolina, Tennessee, and Georgia after the first of the year. Yep, we
might cross paths with you.
We might be running around.
Somebody
said, Kathleen asked, do you get along being so cramped together all the time? I think this is a really good question. And somebody else asked about your number one piece of advice for newbie full-timers. You know, the two of us, I think, have very compatible personalities, and we compromise. You know, I think with any marriage, you have to work together and compromise from time to time to get along. I just think it's and I think all that stuff is amplified where you're in a small space.
Yeah. Now the thing to remember is, even though this is a small space, you're not in it 24/7. You know, when you're out hiking or riding bikes or canoeing somewhere, you know, you spend a lot of your time away from your camper during the day, and then, you know, you come in at night. So I don't really feel like we get too cramped at any one time, unless we're somewhere where it's just pouring down rain, cats and dogs, and we're kind of stuck inside for a few days. Then we start to get a little claustrophobic and just ready to get out. And that's when if we're somewhere that has like a mall or something, or a movie theater, that's when we sort of duck out and go to those kind of places just to get out of the camper and get a change of scenery. So, you know, that's what we usually do if we start to feel a little claustrophobic. But we tend to sort of go to our sides of the camper when we're relaxing a little bit. Like Sean will be sitting here in the front at his desk editing. Sometimes I'm sitting in the back on the bed reading a book, or, you know, replying to Facebook comments or whatever. And so, you know, we sort of each have our own little space. So
I'm actually an introvert. You would never guess this.
Sean is very much an introvert. So if you ever meet him and he's not like real over the top, don't be offended. He is an introvert, so it takes him a while to sort of get talkative. So, and people don't realize that, because when it's just us, he's talking to a camera, and
I'm comfortable. I'm more in my comfort zone. Like when I'm around other people, this is the way introverts work. When you're around other people, it kind of takes your energy away, because and this is just, somebody explained this to me one time. An extrovert gets energy from being around other people. So like, it's not that I don't enjoy being around other people. It's just the way my personality handles it is a little bit different. So like, I sometimes when we come back in the trailer, even I might retreat to my corner. I'll go over here and work on a video or blog post or whatever, and Chrissy does her thing.
Yeah. So David wants to know how we choose our destinations. We sort of just choose based on what we're really interested in. Now that we've been to all 49 states that we can drive to, we're sort of going back and doing a little more in-depth visits on some places that we feel like we sort of just skimmed over in the beginning. And, you know, it's just sort of the time of year that we're getting on the road and what's the best place to go for that time of year and the temperature. And
you know, we have our favorite places, but I love going places we've never been. And so like when I got a message a while back and somebody says, oh, you missed two of the best places in Utah, you didn't go to this and that, I'm happy. Because I know the next time we go to Utah, we'll have two really cool places to go to, if you know what I mean.
You can't see everything in one visit. It's impossible. And if you try to, you're going to make yourself miserable. So we try to hit, you know, the highlights or a few off the beaten path places. And we always know, you know, Frank Sinatra said, always leave them wanting more. That's the thing. We always want to leave wanting a little bit more. So we always know we've got something to look forward to when we come back. So
let's see. Someone asked, when you travel, what's the percentage of boondocking you do compared to campgrounds? I would say it sort of depends on where we're going, I guess. But we boondock, you think it's half and half, or do you think?
Depending on where we are, because if you think about it, I mean, if you're saying boondocking like places where you camp for free, we don't do that a ton. But we do stay in a lot of state parks and national parks where there are no hookups whatsoever. So we are basically dry camping. We do dry camping a lot. So, you know, I would say 50-50 on full hookup campgrounds versus dry campgrounds. As far as boondocking, where we're staying on, you know, Bureau of Land Management land where it's free, we don't do that a ton just because we tend to want to be closer in, and those destinations a lot of times are further out. And it's usually just us. Like if we were meeting friends or something, we'd probably be more likely to do that. But I'm not real keen on being way out somewhere on our own.
Now, somebody asked, what is boondocking? And this is sort of a good kind of beginning question.
But if you ask different people, you'll get different answers.
You do get different answers. And I think, you know, sometimes we will casually use the term boondocking, meaning parking somewhere with no hookups, no electricity, and we're paying nothing. I mean, I think being free is sort of goes hand in hand with boondocking.
Right.
But, you know, so we might say, oh, we're going to boondock in a Walmart parking lot tomorrow night in, you know, Sioux City. Mm-hmm. But other people will say, oh, that's not real boondocking. Real boondocking, you got to be out in the boondocks. And they'll say, that's dry camping. But then somebody will say, no, that's not dry camping. That's overnight parking. So you could overnight park in a Walmart parking lot. You could boondock, which would be free camping, kind of out in the middle of nowhere, like on Bureau of Land Management lands. You could dry camp in a paid campground, just meaning you don't have a water connection. You could have a power connection and still be dry camping. Or you could full hook up. You know what I mean? So like there's a lot of different ways to...
It gets confusing. Very confusing.
So you're probably more confused than you were when you first asked the question.
Let's see.
Yes, Joe says the boondocking police are going to come get us if we don't use the proper term.
That's correct.
They come
People
to get
will.
me every
we'll
time.
We'll get comments. We'll get an email. Somebody will be mad. So sorry. It's just, you know, it's whatever you think it is. Just enjoy yourself and don't worry about it.
Somebody asked, Kent asked, could or would you compare towing a trailer as opposed to a fifth wheel? You know, we've got a video coming up, which is a campfire question. We got a campfire question. A fellow asked about, he wants to get a 50-foot long fifth wheel toy hauler, and he was asking about places where he can park it. And so we'll have a video posting in the next, week or so that sort of discusses that. And we've only owned a 25-foot long travel trailer. Yeah. So honestly, that is our frame of reference.
Right.
We're not RV, we're obviously not RV salespeople. We've never worked in an RV dealership. We're real people And this is our frame of reference. This is our experience.
Right.
Now, we have talked to a lot of people, and we've seen a lot of things.
Right.
So I think we can make some good recommendations based upon what we've experienced.
Right. And if you've had experience towing a travel trailer and a fifth wheel and can make that comparison, chime in the comments, and we'll share those comments with our audience.
Yeah, our experience is that, one of the key differences, most fifth wheels are going to be a lot larger than travel trailers, obviously. I think it's going to be more demanding to tow them. You're probably going to need a bigger tow vehicle, and you're going to have a more difficult time getting into certain campgrounds, especially in the national parks, because we have issues when we go to the national parks,
right?
Even with our 25-footer.
So, Mr. Born to Wander wants to know why we have a F250 for a 25-foot Airstream versus a 150. And the reason for us is our Airstream is an Airstream Classic model, meaning all of our cabinetry is made out of actual wood. So it's heavy. It's not made out of MDF. So the weight of our Airstream is significantly more than,
And we've added a new floor, which added some weight.
We have a wood floor now, so that's added weight.
Yeah, the Classics are the heaviest Airstreams. And actually, when we bought this Airstream, a dear friend loaned us his F-150 for the weekend.
My brother.
A dear friend, also known as my brother-in-law. So we actually towed the Airstream with an F-150, and this was before the EcoBoost and all that stuff, okay? So we did try it, and it just seemed like it was a bit much. Not that the F-150 couldn't handle it, but I kind of, knowing that we were going to be taking this thing out to the Rocky Mountains, I kind of wanted to get something where there was just no question. So,
right.
I mean, our truck is a little too much truck, but
I'd rather have too much than being on the cusp of it not being quite enough.
Now, another thing, like when we first bought our truck, diesel was cheaper than gasoline. So I was like, oh, finally, I'm going to get to use the cheaper fuel. And then within like 2 months of buying the truck, the price of diesel shot up above gasoline. The price of diesel shot up, and then I've been paying more for fuel every time. Bobby made a very nice comment, and she said, "You guys have professional voices that makes your videos so enjoyable." That is very kind.
It's very sweet. It's true of Sean's voice. I do not have the professional voice. Well, Sean does. He could do voiceover work if he wanted to.
It's funny because I really appreciate those comments, because I get comments sometimes, and people are like, "This is the worst narration I've ever heard. The most boring narrator. Like I want to go shoot myself after listening to your voice." So you get both extremes.
That's the danger
YouTube.
of YouTube. You get the good, the bad, and the really ugly. So
I really appreciate that. Tom Brown says, "Good call on 3/4 ton versus a 1/4 ton." Yeah, like I said, I've never regretted having a little bit extra truck. We've towed our Airstream into some ridiculous places. Like I'm thinking of Teton Pass, in Wyoming. Coming down Teton Pass is scary.
Yeah.
And that's something about these big trucks that a lot of people don't think about. It's not just the pulling, it's the stopping. It's the braking and the stopping. Matt says, "Sean and Mike Rowe show voice off." I'm going to issue a challenge to Mike Rowe.
So earlier, a lady was asking about towing in windy conditions. And I just wanted to answer this because she said she tows by herself and it's really something she's scared about.
Right.
And so do you have any tips for towing in windy conditions? And be aware, you need to pay attention to wind advisories if you're in places where they have those signs up, because sometimes you just have to pull off the road. Sometimes it's just too dangerous to be driving in really windy conditions if they're crosswinds. So,
I want to say hey to Rod's wife because she's missing the chat right now. Anti-sway bar, I've said this in videos before, but a lot of people don't have an anti-sway bar, and you can buy them for like $40, maybe even $30, and it gives me a little extra peace of mind, if I'm in that kind of windy environment.
Definitely. And again, slow down. Somebody just made that comment. Go slower, take your time, don't get in a hurry. And again, if those wind advisories are getting really high, if the winds are past a certain point where they're warning people about them, I would just stay put somewhere. Pull off at
Yeah.
a rest stop. Stop for the night at a Cracker Barrel or a Walmart. Just don't risk it.
If you ever feel unsafe, stop. And there's some places like I'm thinking of Nevada and Utah. There are places in Utah where the speed limit's 80 miles per hour.
Yeah.
You don't need to be going 80 miles per hour.
Yeah.
I mean, they can be kind of scary towing in those areas.
Somebody was asking how many nights a year do we spend on the road camping? And I would say that varies a lot depending on the year. What you say? It just sort of depends on what we've got scheduled and what we've got going on. Sometimes we're on the road as much as 6 months out of the year.
Yeah, I would say like the most has probably been 6 months consecutive. So 180 days a year.
Yeah.
That's
And then
a lot.
this year it's only been about 3 months. So we're behind the curve this year. So hopefully we'll make up for it next year.
Tina says she got a kick out of Sean's picture with the Amazon box.
It was a lot of fun.
I'm so bummed out. We went down yesterday to shoot a video next to the gigantic Amazon box, and it was gone.
They had taken it down.
I was so PO'd because, we have a little shop on Amazon now, and I thought, this is the perfect prop, heaven sent, and somebody in the city took it down.
Yep.
Let's see.
Any other questions for us? We could have missed you. It's hard for us to see sometimes because these questions scroll through on our screen real quick.
Somebody, Neil asked if we'd ever been to this place in Colorado, Silverton or
Yeah. We have actually been through there. It's been, I think we went through in like 2011 or 12. I can't remember. But we have been through there. We need to go back and spend more time there.
That's we went to Telluride, right?
Well, we went to Mesa Verde National Park, and we went up to Telluride.
Mesa Verde is awesome.
But we need to go back through and spend some more time in Durango and Silverton, because I've heard we've seen it quickly, but it was a beautiful area, so we need to go back. There are lots of places we need to go back to, so...
Her Paul has asked, do you feel like the LT tires were a good investment? And the answer is yes. If you're not familiar with this, we swapped out our old tires, which were Goodyear, and we changed them to Michelin's. And our experience with the old bad year tires, I probably shouldn't say anything anymore, because there'll be some Goodyear attorneys sending me nasty messages. But we really like the Michelin tires, the LT tires. We feel it's a much safer setup overall. I don't have the same fears of a blowout. Emerson Silva says hello from Brazil. Hello,
Hi.
Emerson. We love international travel, and we've never been to Brazil, so one of these days we want to go.
Yeah.
Let's
see. We have not been to Palo Duro Canyon State Park in Texas, but maybe we will.
David asked, do you use some sort of signal booster to stay connected to the internet while on the road? We have one of those WeBoost things that I've been meaning to do a video about. It hasn't really been properly installed, but we actually
we've got to
have
work on
one.
that.
The times that I tried it, I wasn't blown away with the results. So,
but we were thinking maybe we were doing something wrong.
Yeah.
So maybe we'll call them and ask some questions and give it a go again.
Yeah, we need to talk to the WeBoost people. That seems to be the leading cellular booster. Jim Pratt asked, when are you coming up to Canada? We thought January might be a good time. We were just gonna take our rig up to northern Ontario. I understand it's sunny and beautiful.
Somebody says when we were in
Hopefully
Florida,
next year, Jim.
Yeah, hopefully next year. It was originally on the docket for this year, but then life got in the way.
Right now, if you want to go to Canada, you go down to Florida, because that's where all the Canadians
that's where
are.
all the Canadians are. Somebody was asking when we did Florida, did we go to the Keys? And if you've been watching for a long time, you will know that we actually got married in Key West, Florida, and we brought our Airstream with us. So that is when we did our trip to Key West. It's been 10 years since we've been there, so it's time for us to go back. So maybe we'll make it there this winter. Who knows? We'll see.
Somebody asked about whether you should finance an RV or pay in cash. I mean, of course, this is a personal question depending on, I guess, your budget and your finances and everything. This is Cheryl who asked that. I would love to do sort of a financial discussion on our channel if anybody would be interested in it. I am very leery, and this isn't going to win me any fans in the RV industry. I'm very leery of making big ticket purchases of things that depreciate big time.
Right.
You know what I mean? And somebody said cash is king. I agree with that. I mean, if you can avoid financing, personally, I think that's the way to go. That's the way I typically do things when I can, is just avoid the financing. And I would be careful. You got to think long term when you're making these purchases. Think about, what's that RV going to be worth 5 years from now or 10 years from now? I mean, we've had ours 10 years. And quite honestly, we bought ours, I've documented this in our books. We bought ours when it was about 5 years old. It had depreciated, but it had barely been used. I mean, it was like new. And it's barely lost any value in the last 10 years. I browse them, and ours is like about the same that it was worth 10 years ago.
Somebody was asking if we have been to Arches National Park and stayed there. We have been to Arches. We did not stay inside the park. They only have really one campground, and to get reservations there, you have to make them pretty far in advance, and we just didn't plan that far ahead. So we stayed outside the park, but if you're lucky enough to get a site there, it is a gorgeous campground. So I highly recommend it.
That campground in Arches that we saw was incredible. Now,
yeah, the scenery was phenomenal.
Yeah. I mean, we would love to stay there. I think it's the type of place where you need to make your reservations a year in advance. No joke. And in fact, I think it was closed this past season for renovations, unless I'm mistaken.
Yeah. So
I think next year, we would love to be back up there and stay there because it was incredible. Now, here's somebody, let's see, VW is going to Moab.
Oh,
we
you're
love
going to have
Moab.
a great time. Moab
awesome
is
place.
great. You're going to love it.
Hogue Repair says pay in cash. Cash is always king. If you can pay in cash, I think that's the best way to go.
Yeah. Somebody says happy Halloween. Happy Halloween to you too.
Bob says, Christy, your voice is wonderful, by the way. If Sean would let you talk. I'll just shut up now.
If you knew us in real life, you would laugh at that, because I will talk your ear off and Sean will get in like 5 words. So
Christy has the gift of gab.
Well, I can chat about nothing, but if you need something of substance, Sean's your guy.
Ray asks if any offshore travel is planned or desired. An excellent question, Ray.
Yeah.
Truthfully, there's one place that has been on my list for a long, long time. We've never been to Hawaii. And,
it would be our 50th state to visit.
Yeah, so we got to go to our 50th state. So I think that is sort of low-hanging fruit. We got to go there. And as far as other places, we've got some good friends who are in Italy right now, and I think when you have a brain tumor, you have license to do whatever the heck you want to do.
Yeah, and it reminds you that life is short, so go for it.
And I really was on the verge, like a few days ago, I was like, I'm dropping everything. We're going to throw some clothes in a bag and go into Italy. And that didn't happen because we got a refrigerator to deal with here. But I really would like to do some more, off-the-wall things, go to some different places. I mean, I hope that you guys on our channel won't abandon us if we show up and we're in Bangladesh one day doing a live chat. But, that it could happen.
Somebody was asking when we are coming to Yosemite, and we've been to Yosemite. We actually were there in 2016. So we were there for about 2 weeks, I guess. So we've been there. We'll go back eventually, but probably not soon.
We loved Yosemite. We got lucked into an incredible campsite. We had no reservations. We showed up and they said, okay, we can get you in this one campsite for one night. And so we stayed there for one night. And then there's another campground kind of up the mountain called White Wolf, I think.
I think so.
Something Wolf.
Yeah.
So we went up there and we scored one of the best campsites in that campground. And it's sort of first come, first serve.
And this is a lesson. Our camper is technically 25.5 feet long. And the campground sign said you need to be 24 feet or shorter. So we talked to the ranger and we sort of told him our situation, because we're like, well, you're telling us to go to that campground, but we're 1.5 feet longer than your sign says. And he was like, oh, you'll fit in there. He was like, don't worry about that. He was like, really, he said you can be about 28 feet long and not have any problems. So if it hadn't been for us talking to the ranger and getting that information, we would have never tried to go into that campground because we would have just assumed we're too big to fit in there. So it told me that even though the sign says this length, talk to the rangers because most of them really know the details of those campsites. So it can get you in somewhere where you might have kind of written off of normally not being able to fit. So that was a good lesson there.
Yeah, it was. And also, even though you don't have reservations, you might try, which we do all the time and sometimes get lucky, as in that case.
Yeah.
Bill asked, have you been to Custer State Park and Mount Rushmore?
We have
been to, especially we've been to, I guess we've been to both. I don't know about Custer, though. We haven't really been to Custer.
We haven't done Custer properly, but we've sort of
We've done Mount Rushmore.
Through it. We have been to Theodore Roosevelt National Park.
Yeah,
and
Rod asked
it is
about that.
Very nice.
You see wild horses there and
yeah,
bison.
Really cool. Lots of little prairie
dogs. I think.
Yeah. But the scenery is beautiful. The little town that it's near is like Medora or something like that.
Yeah.
And so we've been there, and it's a great place to visit if you find yourself in North Dakota. But yeah, it's beautiful, especially in the middle of summer. They have gorgeous sunsets there.
Somebody asked if I smoke weed. Actually, the truth is no, but a lot of people are insisting that marijuana oil shrinks tumors.
Yeah.
So I'm going to look
but
into
marijuana oil is not weed, so it's very different. So.
Sorry, just kidding.
Yeah. Cody, Wyoming, we've spent many times in Cody, Wyoming. It is a great place. Somebody says they're going to be in Stone Mountain, Georgia this weekend. That sounds like fun.
Translation says North Dakota is frozen between October and April.
Yeah.
Yes.
Wouldn't go there then. But the middle of July and August, it's great. So.
We have some good friends in Fargo.
Yeah, Fargo. Hi, Chris Hema.
Hi, Chris.
I saw you comment earlier, so I know you're out there somewhere. Is it scary towing through the Smoky Mountains? Well, we'll let you know.
Yeah, we're about to find out. I think we're going to take our Airstream up there quite soon.
Some people are asking about winterization. Do we have a video on that? And also camping in the winter and keeping your water lines from freezing. As far as your water connection, we recommend you fill your freshwater tank with water and then disconnect your hose outside because it's pretty much impossible to keep it from freezing unless you buy one of those heated hoses and then you got to plug that in somewhere. So we've never tried one. Maybe we'll try one this winter and see how it works.
Yeah, we're so sort of fly by the seat of your pants kind of people that we have resisted winterizing. For one thing, we live far enough south so that the actual hard freezes are few and far between usually. Like, there have been several winters that have been quite mild and we haven't had to worry about the tanks freezing very much. We need to do a
with an
winterizing
Airstream, if you keep your heat running, your propane heat running, it will heat your water pipes underneath so they won't freeze. So as long as we have our heat set to come on below a certain temperature, we don't really have to worry about that. But I'm not sure about other brands of, campers. So we'll do some research. Sean is Robin Hood. You can't see the rest of his costume.
No, I'm a Canadian. I'm a Canadian thief. We were joking about Canada earlier. Yeah, I am Robin Hood. This is like sort of an old standby.
Yeah.
Christy's Cruella de Vil.
This is my old
Now,
standby.
she has won costume contests with this costume.
Yeah. I spent some money on this costume, but I've had it for like 17 years, and I've won at least 3 costume contests with it, so it's more than paid for itself.
I haven't won a damn thing. Sorry, just kidding. Let's see. Jim Pratt said start a support group for those who've been forced to winterize their rigs.
Yeah,
yes,
sorry
sad.
about that.
The thing has wheels. You got to head south, chase 72 degrees.
Yeah.
Let's see.
But, winterizing doesn't really take that long because we had to do it before we put our Airstream in storage 2 years ago when Sean broke his foot and we were in Napa, California. And, of course, Vinny is the one that did it because Sean was in bed with his leg broken, and it was me helping Vinny. So thank God for Vinny, because if I'd had to do it by myself, I would have been completely lost. But Vinny did it, and I was just his assistant. And, it really only took about an hour. So maybe we'll get some tips from Vinny on, winterizing your rig.
Somebody thought I looked like the Green Arrow. Somebody thought I looked like the Hunchback of Notre Dame, and that's pretty good. And somebody thought I looked like Igor.
Igor?
Yes.
What?
Yes, master. Yes. I kind of like that.
He
I do
actually
kinda look
has
like-
a costume that matches my Cruella de Vil, but it's not very exciting because it's basically Jasper, who is Cruella's sort of henchman. So he's like, it's kind of boring.
I look kind of like Igor out of, young Frankenstein.
Yeah, somebody was asking about stickers.
Yeah, that's perfect.
They are coming. Stickers are coming. We
Yeah.
have put our order in with the company that makes them, and so soon, my friend.
We've been working on
soon.
stickers for about a decade. And so after 10 years of development, we're going to have some stickers. That's the plan.
You guys better be putting in some orders for them, because
Yeah.
there's been a lot of work that has gone into these stickers. T-shirts are on Amazon.com.
T-shirts are on Amazon, and
Make sure that you go to the Amazon store through our website.
Right.
Because there are people hijacking our designs and claiming to be Long Long Honeymoon on Amazon, and they are not us. So the only way to make sure you are getting a real Long Long Honeymoon t-shirt from us is to go through the link on our longlonghoneymoon.com website.
Yeah, Amazon, if you've never dealt with Amazon, I didn't know this until we started selling T-shirts on there, but it is just rampant with copyright infringement.
Yeah.
Like, you could post the greatest T-shirt design one day, and like 3 days later, there's like 5 Chinese sellers that have duplicated it and are selling it.
Completely duplicated
I mean,
it, claiming to be us.
It's completely
It's
terrible.
ridiculous.
Linda says I look like Uncle Festus. That's pretty good, too.
Oh, you are funny. Let's see. Donald says he and his wife just bought a casita, and they're excited to get going, inspired by us. Well, thanks so much. We hope you guys have a great adventure. Where is our attack dog? She's inside. She will not put on a costume to save her life. She's scared to death of them because she's a little rescue dog.
She's a nudist. She's a canine nudist. She hates clothes.
So baby
and she
girl
hates
doesn't
leashes.
have a costume, sadly. So
If anybody can find me a fleece pumpkin
yeah,
that we
you
could put her
just
inside,
Set her inside.
that's like the one thing that
That
I
would be
think
the
she would
only
go
thing
for.
she would go for. But we've looked for them and we just can't find them anywhere. I'm sure they exist somewhere, and I'm sure we could probably find somebody to make one, but that's a lot of effort, and I'm not up for that. But hey. So no, baby girl doesn't wear costumes, unfortunately.
So David was giving me a hard time about Canada, and Jim too, because some of our products we can't sell in Canada yet, and I don't understand all the nuances of international trade and tax and shipping and all that. You know, we're sort of at Amazon's mercy about where we can ship these things right now, but hopefully we'll be able to ship our products to Canada soon. Hogue Repair wants cooking tips, and I agree completely.
All right, I'll have to think of some good recipes that I can get to cooking in here.
She's actually a great cook, and you know, she cooks a lot of stuff in our Airstream. You know, some people don't use their Airstream oven and all that stuff. We use all of it, and so, you know, we really should do something, some kind of cooking segment.
Yeah. Somebody was asking about the gear link on our site. They were saying it's down right now to find t-shirts. Actually, if you go to the store, our Amazon store that's on our website, we might have to pull it up.
Yeah, actually, if you go to longlonghoneymoon.com, on the right, you'll see a picture of Christy and I holding a pink flamingo. You click on that, and that will take you to the store.
And you'll find the t-shirts there.
And our Amazon store is kind of a launching pad where you could do any shopping on Amazon from that. So it's amazon.com/shop/longlonghoneymoon.
Yeah.
Walter Jordan asked a timely question. Speaking of cooking, what's your favorite outdoor grill? We just got a new grill to replace our old grill.
So that video is coming soon.
Yeah.
Stay tuned.
Actually, I hope you guys enjoy product reviews. I love doing product reviews, if I'm being honest. To me, it's fun talking about all these different products.
Well, and honestly, when we ask people what kind of videos they want us to do, people always ask us about gear. And people always watch those videos. Our most watched videos mostly are gear videos. So some people complain and say, oh, you need to do more travel videos. Well, when Sean puts in 20 hours of editing on some epic 30-minute travel video, it gets like half the views of like these review videos. So
but if you review a power drill, it's like it goes bonkers.
So sometimes it's hard to put in that much effort into a travel video when you know it's not going to get nearly as many views as the product reviews.
Tom Brown likes our product reviews. Thank you, Tom. So we actually got a new grill, and it's by Weber, and it's the Q1200.
I think it's the 1200.
It's a small one. It's portable, and so we like it for that reason. I mean, we wouldn't want to carry anything much larger than that, and it works really well. Cheryl Sims has been a subscriber for 7 years.
Wow,
that is
Cheryl,
awesome.
thank you so much. That's awesome. All right. John says he's in Washington and would love to cook for us. Well, we may take you up on that.
We'll take you up on that.
Somebody says they bought a Champion 3100 remote based on our review, and I hope they are enjoying it.
Yeah, he says it's great. I love ours, too.
Yeah. Let's see. Sean, did you get a new drone?
Ed asked if I got a new drone. I think I need a new drone. If I can get the boss's permission.
We have a closet full of drones, let me just tell you.
Every time I crash one, I get a new one. I mean, actually, I've got the same drone. I have a Phantom 4, and I've had it for about a year. I love the drone, and I've been tempted by some of the new models, but I haven't crashed this one just yet. So I'm sort of like, I'm waiting till I wreck it, and then I'll go out and get a new one. I do have a closet full, sort of like the island of broken toys. It's the closet of broken drones. It's a sad place.
Let's see. Somebody says our Alaska videos were great. Thank you so much. We had a lot of fun doing those. Somebody says they've been a subscriber for 6 years. Ethan. Thank you so much, Ethan. We appreciate it. Somebody wants to know, does a flat tire tear your fender well up every time? Well, it sort of depends.
I would say no. I mean, because we've had at least one flat tire that was a simple flat.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the problem would be if you had a blowout and or delamination of the tire. That's when those flapping bits of steel belted radial can do a lot of damage to your rig. And so a lot of people, recommend getting a tire pressure monitoring system. We have one. We just haven't bothered to install it.
Yeah.
Forgive me. Let's see. D-Rain has been a subscriber for 25 years. I appreciate that so much. I mean, that goes back to the early 90s. I'll never forget that day in 92 when I first started uploading videos.
They must have been psychic.
It was before the internet.
Yeah.
I was an early adopter
Let's see.
of the old YouTubes. If only I had invested in Google back in those days.
Okay, Adam wants to know, on our intro, when the chain on our trailer knocks the camera over, was that on purpose or an awesome mistake?
That was an awesome mistake. Yep, I was like, it was not intentional.
He was just trying it to see if it was going to work, and I was like, oh, I hope this doesn't crash your camera.
I actually I did a couple of filmmaking boot camp type things in New York and Los Angeles at New York Film Academy is the name of the institution. Mm-hmm. And I had a directing teacher who told me, you get to take credit for whatever happens when you're rolling that camera. He said, like, if a bird flies into your shot and it's just like the most awesome bird ever, it's like you get to put your name on that shot. So at the time I was like, oh no, I may have just like ruined that camera. And then later I pulled the footage off and I thought, hey, that's pretty cool. Lucky accident. David asked, any future tire reviews coming? Well, we're in pretty good shape on our Michelins. I think we'll probably be getting some new tires for the truck before too long, but we're going to stick with those Michelin LTX because they're rock solid. I mean, we've had those tires on that truck for years, and it's just never an issue at all.
Somebody wants a guitar review.
Well,
how not to tune your guitar would be the only video we are qualified to do.
I think I'm getting ready to pull a Jimi Hendrix and light that thing on fire.
What?
Yeah. Well, it's technically sort of her guitar, so she may not like that, but let's see.
Let's see. get to some more videos.
John asks, any upcoming travel across the U.S.? Yes, very soon, at the very least. We're going to be going around the Southeast pretty soon. I have to answer this. D. Reyna says, hey, Sean, remember when people started blanking at you when you kind of said the F word at the end of the video? Ah, yes, I remember those days.
The funny thing is he really didn't say the F word. He just bleeped it.
Well, something was bleeped. We don't really know what I said. I had no idea that video was going to get 500,000 views. Okay, so I posted this video, and sometimes I'll throw in jokes at the very end of our videos. And if you've watched our videos, we've got probably 300 plus videos on YouTube. I don't think you're going to find a profanity, a real profanity, in any of those videos. Now, I slipped in one humorous profanity in this video, if anybody were paying attention. And I said I haven't. But anyway, our videos are pretty darn clean. But I threw in this sort of joke at the end of this video, and
people went nuts.
People go nuts. And now some people love it.
Greatly offended.
Some people love it, and some people are like, oh, you know, this video was great until that, and now I'll never watch another thing from you ever again. But that's like, it's sort of the risk you take if you're going to do creative, anything.
You're never
going
to please everybody, so just enjoy yourself and don't worry about it.
You know, always remember, and this is kind of a good lesson, I think, for anybody doing any kind of creative work, or really anything in your life. Are you familiar with Lord of the Rings, right? A lot of people would say Lord of the Rings is one of the greatest works of literature in the last century. People loved the movies. They made like $60 billion. There are other people wouldn't watch 5 minutes Lord of the Rings. Hate it. I mean, like, there are people in my family, they wouldn't watch 5 minutes of it. And, you know, for some people, it's a masterpiece.
Yeah.
So you truly, you can't please everybody. Joe asks, where's the precious? I think that's a Gollum reference.
Somebody says Astros or Dodgers.
The Braves, of course.
Well,
I guess, I don't know, that's a good question.
Midnight Run says, you guys were the first YouTube channel I ever watched and subscribed to. Keep up the good work. I'm very grateful Sean is okay. Thanks so much.
Thanks much. Yeah,
Thanks
a few people have asked for a brain tumor update because this is sometimes the brain tumor channel. I would just say briefly, the meds started really kicking in about a month ago, and I started feeling a whole lot better for, you know, the last 3 or 4 weeks. Everything's going pretty well. It doesn't mean the tumor is gone, but it means it's being controlled pretty well.
Hopefully it means it's not growing more.
And maybe it'll be shrinking.
Hopefully. We'll find out in the new year.
I'm a guy who really follows a lot of futuristic stuff. Like, I'm always like learning about artificial intelligence and sort of, if you are familiar with Moore's Law, computer power is doubling every year, and I really think in the next 10 to 15 years we're going to have tiny little computers that go in there and knock these tumors out. Remember, you saw that on Long Long Honeymoon way back in the year 2017.
Carolyn, sorry.
No, go ahead.
Carolyn says she just bought a 2006 Classic with a slide and used our videos to learn how to empty the tanks and set up her kitchen. And she just thanked us and said our videos are great. Thank you so much, Carolyn. We're glad that we could be helpful and you could learn from our mistakes, because that's usually what videos that we post come from. It's usually us doing something wrong and then learning how to do it properly, and then we share it with you so you don't have to make the same mistakes that we have made.
Dave K just mentioned the trailer scoop. Now, this is another video that when we posted it, we really had no idea it was going to be, you know, that popular. But if you have a travel trailer and you've not watched this video, I would highly recommend you do so. And it's about making this little scoop with your trailer when you're going past the campsite you want to back into. This is a technique that was taught to us by a fellow camper who was a truck driver in Canada.
Yeah,
so,
we were in White Swan Lake.
Score 1 for the Canadians.
Yep, he was a really nice guy.
He was a nice
Jamie.
Canadian. So, yeah, he taught us how to do that, and I thought, wow, that really helps so much, because we were trying to back into a really tricky campsite. And I truly have been confident in every time I have to back into a campsite now. I mean, really, ever since I learned that.
Yeah.
Patty Sylvia said, if you didn't have an Airstream, what would you have? You know, we may have different answers to this. Personally, at least in terms of RVs, if we were going to branch out and do something really different, I like the Tiffin motorhomes.
I was probably gonna say the same thing.
I mean-
I would choose a small one though.
Yeah, a smaller Tiffin motorhome. I mean,
Just for something completely different. If we're just leaving Airstream completely behind, then I
Right.
would go that route just to try it.
I mean, they seem to be very livable. They're very, I think, well made, and they have excellent customer service. And frankly, we're from Alabama. They're built in Alabama. All the Tiffins are. Tiffin is based in Alabama.
Yeah. Somebody wanted to know if we live in our Airstream. We live in it part-time. So about half of the year we live in our Airstream, 24/7. And then the other half of the year we are in our hometown of Birmingham, Alabama.
Dave said he thought the goat incident was our best YouTube moment. That's really cool because if you haven't seen the goat incident, this was a video we posted in our very first year. And we were on a hike in Glacier National Park, and I would just set the camera down and I was shooting some video with the camera on the ground, and we walked past it, and this goat comes in the opposite direction and just like stops right on top of our camera. I thought it was going to eat the camera.
Or kick it or
Yeah.
stomp on it. Somebody said they want to see baby girl. I'm sorry, baby girl's inside, so I can't leave to go get her.
We should have brought her out here, but she steals the show
Yeah.
anytime. Never work with
And
kids
she
or
has
dogs.
to have Sean's complete attention, so she wouldn't like sharing him with you
Yeah,
guys.
she would be fidgeting. Somebody said AI is the future. I agree. I mean, frankly, a lot of you guys are going to say I'm crazy, but I think in the next 10 years, RVs are going to be driving themselves, and there are going to be so many advancements in AI. I want to start an AI YouTube channel, but I got my hands full with Long Long Honeymoon.
That's right.
But I mean, there's
One
going to be
channel at a
some
time.
incredible things happening in the next 10 to 15 years. And actually, I'm very optimistic about all of it. I think you hear so much bad news in the media every time you turn on the TV, and I feel we're at the cusp of really some incredible breakthroughs that are going to be so positive overall. Either that or it's going to end the world. So, there's that.
All right, we are nearing the 1 hour mark.
Yep.
So we probably should wrap this up because it's going to take a long time to upload it to YouTube later. So if you missed this live event early on, you can watch it back once it gets posted up to our channel. We'll try to have that done by tomorrow.
Butch said something about the brain tumor channel. I'm going to be going in for more brain analysis in December, so I will have a major update to the brain tumor channel. I'm excited about that.
Yeah, hopefully we're going to have some really good news. All right. Thanks, you guys, for tuning in. We really appreciate it. We hope you guys have a really fun Halloween. Comment again and let us know if you spend Halloween somewhere really cool in your RV, and we might just have to check it out one day.
Yeah, thank you guys so much for tuning in. I hope you have a good time tonight. Get into the spirit of things. It's Halloween. Put on a mask or a costume and have some fun. And we're about to do the same. We've got a party we got to go to.
Yep.
And I think the sun is setting. The wolves are howling.
Yep.
So we're going to hit the road.
We're trying not to eat too much candy.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks again for tuning in, you guys. If you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel yet, please do so. It means the world to us. If you liked this video, give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends and let them know all about Long Long Honeymoon.
All right. Thank you. Even you trolls. Thank you, trolls, for showing up.
Yep. All right. Lo-lo-ho.
Hello. Bye-bye. Finale.